knowledge. Now, people take it seriously, that quote by the president, let us be citizens and not spectators. Dare I say, is it coming to bite him in the bum? Is that, that expression, is it coming to bite you in the bum?
Backside, yeah.
In your backside?
Look, yesterday, somebody sent me this message. Afishapa to you, Johnny. Please, I beg you, I need some money to buy food for the family this morning. And I asked the mobile number. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, because sometimes I don't like to read these things, but again, it only mirrors what the reality is. And guess what? We have been through this state before, where we were promised and told that we're voting for change and for something that's better.
That's right.
I don't get it when somebody comes to promise you that, I'll make your life better. And then you see that your life is actually getting worse. And you ask the person, but you said you were going to make my life better, but my life is actually getting worse. What's going on? And he says, shut up. That's the attitude of the government. Oh, you said you were giving us free water and free electricity. It's okay, we're taking it. Oh, we like you. Thank you, we vote for you. Then you come back to say, we have to pay for the free water. And we say, but why?
Well, you said it's free.
Something that's free. Say, yes, but somebody has to pay for it anyway.
How? It's either free
or not free. So what were you thinking when you told us during the elections that it was free and even extended it? So based on that, we said, then these guys are really good. Let's keep them in power. Only for us to be told that you have to pay for it. A case in point again is the Domelovo case.
That's right.
The Auditor General, the immediate past Auditor General. What was his crime really? He was investigating Kroll and Associates. The Kroll and Associates is connected to the then senior minister, now senior presidential advisor to the president, Honorable Yausa Famafo.
That's right.
We all know, open secret. He was investigating it about some monies that we're supposed to have paid, how the deal was shady, not in the best interest of the country. The general issues of, corruption and corruption-related activities. And then we started hounding him. First, it was about his date of birth.
That's right.
And then his nationality was brought into question. And then his, retirement age was brought there. Even his baptismal certificate and everything was put out there. And guess what? This was a collaboration between a former Auditor General, who's now chairman of the board of directors of the Auditor General, and then the president himself, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Eventually, the Supreme Court said that the decision that the president took, based on the recommendation that was made by Mr. Ajimandria, was unconstitutional. That for me is the biggest of all the embarrassments that you can get. Guess what? Around that same time, it was President Akufo-Addo who had told board chairman of state-owned enterprises to stay away from the day-to-day activities of state-owned enterprises and allow the CEOs or managing directors to work. Not to interfere in their work. In the scheme of things in the Republic of Ghana, the president is the board chairman, right?
That's right.
Of the country.
That's right.
He's the last man. He's the board chairman of the country. Let's say cabinet are the board of directors or the ministers, and the president is the board chairman. So Domelovo will be a CEO of a state-owned enterprise.
Correct.
But then the board chairman of Domelovo's institution spoke to the board chairman of the country to come and interfere, and he did interfere. So on one breath, the president is telling board chairman not to interfere.
Allow your CEOs to work.
But he came to interfere. In a simple matter as somebody who has gone past the age of retirement or just was on the brink of retiring. Are you able to mention, I've done let the retirees go and let the young grow. As we speak, Registrar of Companies, she's gone past 60. Goyle, there are 2 retirees there. I can go on and on. National Theatre. Contract extension upon contract extension. So what was different about Domelovo? When in fact he had not even concluded the investigation on the Kroll thing. Guess what? Immediately Domelovo was pushed out. The Kroll thing was given a clean bill of health by the person who replaced Domelovo. Matter finish.
End of story.
The question that comes to mind is that I work with Helen. I am Helen's subordinate or a deputy. Helen is asked to proceed on leave. I have my office. Helen has her office. Do I go and take over Helen's office and change the lock and key? Or do I stay in my office and still administer the institution from my office in acting capacity until Helen returns to her office to take over? That did not happen at
That's right.
the Auditor General's department. And we should bow down our heads in shame. We should. We should.
Absolutely.
What else are we looking at?
Well, another big one. So we've touched on hashtag Occupy Julobi. Just in conclusion, the conveners had wished to protest during the month of December, but an injunction was placed on that. The court said that the police would be too busy at that time, and that in the new year demonstrations can continue. And there are many people who have said that they are looking to hit the streets this year to ensure that their views and thoughts are heard, and that they demand accountability, because we still, as we talk about corruption, are still seeing issues after issues crop up, and nobody's being held accountable.
You know what's interesting? The police were always, for example, in the case of Occupy Julabi, the police says we don't have enough men to guide you to go on the demonstration.
That's right.
But they had enough men to prevent the people from demonstrating.
Oh, they had a lot of men on the ground. They massed up.
Does it make sense?
No.
Because the men we saw there could have just shepherded the people to demonstrate. I mean, for a country where I can't breathe, what's his name? Floyd.
Yeah, George Floyd.
Yes, I can't breathe. And fire, it didn't concern us in any way. But because we were thinking of bringing McNeil to bring his Pluto Land to the Jubilee House, we decided that we were going to allow to have a state funeral funded with our taxes to talk about George Floyd, I can't breathe. And in the I can't breathe demonstration, the police joined the citizens because they thought that what the 2 or 3 white police people did was wrong.
That's right.
In our case, this is a direct correlation. The same issues that the people were talking about. And we said, oh, we don't have enough men to police you to demonstrate, but we have enough men to prevent you from demonstrating.
And I recall at the height of the protests on one of the Johnny's Bites, in fact, I cut that clip and I put it on my personal page, and you said, we are saying some for you, and you are busy beating us.
Yes. Yes.
And in fact, that got a lot of people thinking. I got hundreds of comments under that clip on that particular Johnny's Bites, and everybody said, actually, what is really going on here?
Because look, go to any police barracks of your choice. I mean, a few new ones have been put up, yes, but go to the traditional ones that you know. Any Kanishi police station, Dock Court, whichever one, where they have those quarters, and check the living conditions of our police. So these things that people go on the streets to amplify and talk about is also in your interest.
That's right.
Nobody's asking you to be disrespectful to others because you work in a regimented space. But where the thing doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. There is no way you can tell people that you do not have men to police them, and yet you have men to prevent them from going on. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't just make sense. Oh well, maybe Ghana we day.
Done that because many Ghanaians thought that there were some things untoward that I had done, which is the reason why the presidency said I should take the lead. So now that I think I feel vindicated, I don't think I need any redress beyond that. Many people have suggested it, and I jokingly tell them that, no, why would I take redress so to get compensation from taxpayers who did nothing to me because of a president who doesn't pay tax? So I'm not interested in any further action. Thank you.
So this was Daniel Domelevo. He made a very profound statement that a lot of Ghanaians are asking him to demand for compensation because after the court ruled that what the court did, what Nana Dodonko Akufo-Addo and the board chairman of the whole structure did was wrong, was unconstitutional. So then it was an avenue for him to go and say that, look, I was pushed out of office unconstitutionally. you have caused me this and that and that and that. So I'm taking compensation. He made a profound statement. He said, but the citizens of Ghana pay taxes. They are not the ones who pushed me out of office. The man who chased me out of office, he doesn't even pay taxes. The president of the republic doesn't pay taxes.
That's right.
But he chops our taxes. And when push comes to shove, he speaks to us in French parables. When he was looking for power, he spoke to us in Twi.
That's right.
Ghana former Baba. When he got power, he said L'argent n'est pas le prix.
To it.
Thank
you.
So, anyway, what else are we talking about? Bank of Ghana.
Bank of Ghana, very topical towards the end of the year. Of course, the minority NDC decided to embark on that demonstration and again go to the Bank of Ghana, hand a petition to the Bank of Ghana governor based on the actions that were taken, which the minority says had plunged 850,000 Ghanaians into poverty by way of alleged printings of money, which caused high inflation in the country, making cost of living very unbearable, and thereby reducing the purchasing power of the good people of Ghana. That demonstration saw a lot of people attend and march towards the Bank of Ghana. We also saw that similar sort of pushback from the police, saying that certain routes were unapproved. We asked the questions, why are those routes unapproved? Why are some buildings in the security zone, others seemingly not? And the responses were not forthcoming. Ultimately, leadership of the minority were allowed to march and present a petition. Sadly, they were not met by the Bank of Ghana governor or the deputies who could have come out and received said petition.
How much did we lose? The Bank of Ghana lost. How much was it?
Was it 60 billion?
60 billion.
Ghana city, 60 billion.
And that was what we're talking about. Can you imagine what 60 billion can do?
Oh, I mean, when we try and quantify the issues, and you know, for Ghanaians, something that was quite topical connected to this were things like the board increasing their pay in the year at a time when inflation had eaten all of our monies, at a time when the actions we're told of the Bank of Ghana governor had caused inflation to skyrocket, caused our purchasing power to go down. Our pays are not going up, and yet we saw the board, they're
trying to live large.
They were able to circumvent the ills of the inflation that had been created, and that did not go down well palatably with the citizenry.
We're living
at
a
all.
champagne lifestyle on an Akpeteshi budget.
That's right.
That was what we were doing. And interestingly, they also wanted the governor of the Bank of Ghana gone.
That's right.
Because they said that he printed money or supervised the printing of money illegally. That was denied again in the beginning.
That's right.
No. But it came to light that, in fact, they had supported the government with so much money. And where did they get that money from? Because it was not approved by Parliament. So Parliament was asking the question of, Governor Addison has to go. Because even in reading the budget, the governor of the Bank of Ghana was not present. And up until now, that petition has not been accepted by the governor of the Bank of Ghana. He sent the chief security man at the Bank of Ghana to come and collect. They say he's head of security. Some say he's not.
Director of security.
He's director
also.
of security. He's not, but he's a security man. Well, that's the basic thing. So, but they sent him to come and collect the petition, and the people rejected and said, "Go back." And for me, if we want our democracy to develop, demonstrations are very important, especially when they are not violent demonstrations. When they are demonstrations that are peaceful, demonstrations that are just highlighting the sentiments of the people, the real issues. Because if you say the Bank of Ghana building is a security zone, right? Agreed. Right next to the Bank of Ghana building, the court complex.
That's right.
The Supreme Court.
That's right.
Number 4. Right? The Chief Justice, number 4. Because it's President, Vice President, Speaker of Parliament, and Chief Justice. Number 4. That's their office. That should be a security zone.
That's right.
So how did you do the zoning? Because right behind that so-called security zone is the Makala market.
That's right.
Where they are selling momoni and kobe and kotodwe and everything. Right behind there is the bookshops. right behind there's a law school. Right opposite the security zone is a Bishop Girls' School.
That's right.
Right opposite the security zone is a Trotro Park, Lorry Park. Right opposite the security zone is another car park. Right next to it are commercial banks. Right next to it are shopping malls, Lava and Melcom and all those things. So how did you do the zoning? General Post Office and the rest. So how did you do the zoning?
And questions were asked, they were never answered.
Anyway, Ghana we there.
The minority leader said we must go to the bank to confirm. When we got to the bank, we were met by some people. The communication officer of the NDC demanded to know their identity. The leader of that group was a retired Wing commander who is the director of security. In effect, he is the watchman of the Bank of Ghana. They sent the watchman of the Bank of Ghana to come and receive the petition on behalf of the governor. That is where my praise for Dr. Atukis Forcing Council. He told them that we will not present the petition to any watchman. We will present the petition to a governor. And since the governor is not there today, we will go. We will come back. Will we come back? Will we come back? So the petition has not been presented. We want to assure the governor that he better resign before we come back the next time. Because next time, and Ghana Police Service, listen to me. We are not going to stop here. And you will not stop us here. Next time, we will occupy the Bank of Ghana properly. If the governor of the Bank of Ghana knows what is good for him, tomorrow, they should announce his resignation. Because this is just the beginning. But as I step down, let me use this moment to commend the police. I saw a number of their commissioners. I saw Commissioner Yohunu. I saw the Director General Suraj Mohammed. I saw Habibata. I want to salute them for what they have done today. If this is the way they will do policing, they will be the friends of our nation.
So that was Bernard Mona, former chairman of the convention, People's National Convention there. And I apologize for some of the unsavory words that you heard.
The ad-libs in the back there.
The fruity language. It comes along with some of those demonstrations. But that was it. The of the Bank of Ghana.
And that petition again was never received. The minority and co-demonstrators vowed to return. That hasn't happened as yet. But sticking with the Bank of Ghana issues, I think another conversation that was quite topical is how much the Bank of Ghana lends to government to do government business.
Yes.
And there's a reason why the Bank of Ghana has to stand on its own 2 feet to sometimes put their foot down, because there have to be checks and balances.
Correct.
Are you going to keep on lending to government past the threshold? And from what I recall, it was actually this government, this NPP government, that's sought to reduce how much the Bank of Ghana can actually lend to government. That means that they recognize that some checks have to be made. Otherwise, your lender of last resort could be overly stretched to what we saw at this point when we were 60 billion Ghana cedis down. That means, to put in perspective, that if all creditors came to Bank of Ghana wanting to take out their money, they would have to find that 60 billion cedis from somewhere. They didn't have that money. So it put into perspective the issues of how independent the Bank of Ghana is. How a stronger leader you need in a Bank of Ghana governor who's not going to bend to the whims and caprices of government, go way above that threshold, go and allegedly print money, plunge almost 1 million Ghanaians into poverty, reduce our spending power, increase inflation, and then on the blind side, enjoy the largesse.
And that's the lender of last resort.
Lender of last
that
resort.
That means that if everything, we try everything and it fails, that's where we go.
That's where the cushioning is, or should be.
And we have gone there eating the meat, the bone, and actually cracked the bone. And now the marrow is what is left, and we are licking the marrow.
Just licking, and then the marrow is on its last leg.
Then comes in Cecilia Abinadapa, $1 million, and then some cities plenty, 2.7 or so.
You're right.
Plus some kente and things.
In fact,
euros
euros
as well, 300 million,
300,000 euros. Yeah,
a lot of money.
A lot of money
in the house, and we had the initial narrative. For me, when the matter first broke on the front page of the Chronicle, it generated a lot of controversy. People were public discussion. Hey, so one person has all this money and all of that. Then we started hearing conversations about, it's for the late brother. It was in a box with the padlock in front. It was in a bag. And that conversation, that explanation was given to us by an appointee of the government who is the board chairman of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. He's also a broadcaster, Metro TV, Paul Adombotri. I mean, the facts are the facts.
That's right.
So he supplied some explanation to us that the money belonged to a late brother, was given to Cecilia Adapa for keeps by the late mother, and now the late mother is gone, the brother is also deceased, and all of that. That the husband of Cecilia Adapa is an architect, he has money, he can afford $200,000. All those conversations came through.
That's right.
And then Cecilia Adapa said, the money belongs to. And then when the wife of the late brother says, the widow says, no, the money belongs to my husband. We are not doing well, so let us have my husband's money so we can use it for our kids. No.
Actually,
the money belongs to me. And the back and forth, some arrests were made and all of that. The conversation for me is not about whether or not Cecilia Adapa has done something wrong, whether she stole the money or not. The conversation for me is about the fact that we have been told to maintain a cashless society by this government. And if a cabinet minister will have so much money at home and not even realize that some of the money was being stolen until she came to catch a person red-handed.
That's right.
Or red-handed, as they say, then there's a problem. So how much more was there? And you remember that when we started and we said that, about 5 million more was found, quickly they say, you're telling us, blah, blah, blah. It turned out that what we had said was correct.
That is true.
So now, the conversation is not about how she came by the money. The conversation is about monies. If you had 100,000, Helen, or 50,000, 20,000, you would take it to the bank.
I would take it to the bank.
And the money has to stay in the bank so that the money circulates. So that if Janet Quayson wants to take a loan of, say, 5,000 to go and do a small provision shop, she can actually go to the bank and access your money through an arrangement with the bank. Go and work with your money, bring the profits. The bank will give you some as interest. And that's how we move cash around. But then this is cold, hard cash. At a time when we were busy borrowing from the IMF, we had dollars under our beds, and we had gone to go and borrow dollars. Do you get the sense?
Absolutely.
We had dollars, right, under our beds. We had gone to borrow dollar to go and do gold for oil.
That's right.
We gave them our gold, added dollar to it, and then they said, give us cheaper fuel. Then we go to IMF to say, give us dollars. And you remember earlier in the year, the government had arrested arrested. If you go onto our Facebook page, you see a breakdown: $1 million US dollars, 800,000 US dollars plus 200,000 US dollars supposed to be belonging to the husband in the black bag. There's also 300,000 euros, and the CDs there, plenty.
That's right. Then, so those figures were the figures that were allegedly stolen from the home.
Yeah.
Then you go on to the monies that were actually found
discovered
in the residence.
2.7 million
Ghana
cedis plus 590,000 US dollars, and some jewelry and kente cloth and the rest. So for me, we're busy borrowing from the IMF dollars. We're busy telling the people that we have a short supply of dollars. You remember earlier in the year, 79 Abochi were arrested at Tudu.
That is right.
For dealing black market.
That's right.
What's the difference between those Abochi and Cecilia Dapa? The 79 Abochi who were dealing dollar, and they were picked up, put on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, and we made a show of them that they are the ones collapsing the economy, they are the ones weakening the city, they are the ones not making us have dollars. If you put their monies together, I'm not sure you get a 1 million that Cecilia Dapa had, plus the euros and everything else.
That's right.
So what's the difference between them and Cecilia Dapa? And to add insult to injury, the bank account supposed to be belonging to the deceased brother is actually sending money to
Still
Cecilia.
sending money.
So Asamando has money. It is Ikasu indeed. How do you put the two together? That you're telling us to run a cashless society. Everybody go and keep a bank account. Everybody go and do Momo so that we can collect your e-levy.
Yes.
And then you come to us, and then a cabinet minister has such amount of money.
We're told, don't hoard your dollars.
Yes,
Free them into the system.
Free the dollars so that the dollars will go round. Here's a cabinet minister who was part of that decision to tell us not to hoard our dollars, keeping dollars at home. And she didn't even realize that the dollars had been stolen until the person was caught red-handed. That, for me, is even much more alarming.
Because that means that what quantity of cash was actually in the home?
That's one. Two, here's a cabinet minister who has access to state secrets.
That's right.
Because he sits directly with the president to discuss top issues. What profiling was done for the house girls before they were employed? What was the profiling of those house girls before they were employed? Because they are not relatives of the woman.
That's right.
And can you imagine the calls that these people who were able to take $1 billion and others could have listened to, or may have listened to and disseminated to other people, if they had been compromised by other dangerous, people? Can you imagine the documents that may have gone missing that we didn't know about? What kind of profiling was done? And this was a caretaker gender minister. You remember that?
I do recall.
And one of the girls was underaged. She was supposed to be
In
a
school?
student.
We're even told by, again, Paula Demontre, that one of the girls was even pregnant, allegedly.
Yes.
And even that age didn't even sit right.
Let's finish the school.
The school. Let's do that.
Gender minister. School. Free SHS. We come back to whether free SHS is a legacy or not. The cabinet minister. Caretaker gender minister. You are keeping a minor at home.
That's right.
And then the minor is not in school. And then the minor gets impregnated. That is a crime. And the crime is not reported. But what is reported is theft. Years on. Something doesn't sit right.
No. And for me, Johnny, if you say that you are not concerned with the source, I can't agree with you there. The reason why I can't agree with you
the source
there,
of the money.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, it's a matter in court, so
Fair.
I don't want to get into any subject.
Yes, I just say that for the average Ghanaian, they are keen to know if we are living in an era of transparency. This should not be a big case. And in fact, at the time the story broke, there were calls from a MPs, ladies on both sides, because on Thursdays, Bella hosts the ladies. I tuned into one of those shows where you had Nanaya Jantua and then reps from NDC and MPP weighing in on the issues. And actually, unanimously, all ladies on the panel said that if they were Cecilia Dapa, on the outset of the case, they would come out and say, actually, the source is XYZ. The hoarding is one case, keeping it in my room is one case, but actually, this is the source of the funding.
You remember
would that not have put the issue to bed?
It would have put it to bed, but except to say that when the matter broke, you remember there was a press release with all those errors from Cecilia Dapa's.
That's right. Some Miss Cecilia spelled differently in different places.
And that in good time, the explanation we are asking for now will come. That explanation has never come. But you see, you want to mirror this to an era where a deputy minister for gender, and it's instructive. This is acting minister for gender, right? Or caretaker minister for gender and sanitation minister. Mirror it to Mohammed's regime. A deputy minister for gender, Victoria Hammer.
Yeah.
She only assumed and thought that if I had 100,000, I would quit politics. She only was talking to somebody about it on phone. Said if I had 100,000, she lost her job.
That's right.
Cecilia Dapa found with money under her bed, and she herself had taken the matter to court. The president said, I believe that you will come out unscathed. So in the past, we were told that somebody who had thought about money, which was so grave that the person had to be sacked or fired, was bad leadership. Fast forward, a double, maybe triple, quadruple, whatever pull of the money is found. And the president says, I have hope that you come out clean. And you see this person wants to fight corruption. How does he want to do it? By Takashi or Inshallah? Okay, listen to Prophet Kofudro.
If a minister of sanitation has all this money, can you imagine what minister of finance has? Wicked nation.
Wicked nation.
And turn it to some kind of a business. The working of people's souls have now been turned into some kind of business. Church people, and some can boldly say that you are like commodities that puts money in our pocket. Jesus is asking that preacher, how can you escape the damnation of hell? How?
That is Prophet Kofudro. He's asking the question, if sanitation minister has this much, then think about the
others. And
lands minister.
And on that note, following the breaking of the story of the $1 million visa,
even before you get there, remember there was a presidential staffer who also lost 118,000
allegedly in the boot of
US dollars. It's not the boot though. This one was picked up 118,000.
Okay.
There was another in a polytank. There was a Western Regional Minister who also lost money and then said, I have not lost any money. People go and you lose the money, you have to say the money I've not lost any money. You go home and cry.
You have to.
Outside gentility, home cry.
And those have happened. Those things have happened. In terms of this now perception that all of our ministers must have some huge sums of money in their houses, security experts will tell you that that's a dangerous path to go on. Because now what perception do you give the youth? That as they are toiling, you heard from the clip when we were talking about Occupy Julobi, just to take trotro, just to get to work, just to self-actualize, to also marry, build a home, you know, or also just enjoy life. It's so difficult for the average Ghanaian, the average youth. And you hear that ministers have so much money. It creates a danger for those who are in that fraternity. You might not have huge sums of money in your bank account. You'll be attacked because now you've got a target on your back. There's a perception that all the money is in your home, is in your boot, is in your car. That these guys, you could get some money from them if you attack them.
You know, there's the former MP for Infantsman, is late, deceased.
That's right.
Kwanzaa.
That's right.
Whose wife is also a police officer. She was on the probe for the DCOP, Alex Mensah, Superintendent Asari and Superintendent JB thing. We don't have conclusion to that matter yet.
That's right.
But she was on it. She went to replace her husband in Parliament. You know, he was murdered at gunpoint.
Right.
You know what the people who murdered him said? Said, you people are part of the reason we are hungry. That's what the robber said. The person, whoever it was, pulled him out of the car and said, you are part of the power.
Look at that.
So if Cecilia Ba has this kind of money, then you hear about Mr. Jindapo, then you hear about this person, then you hear about that person. I mean, some could be just rumors, but then it fits into the narrative you just gave.
That's right.
That people will now be thinking, oh, okay, we must see a minister, CEO, MD. It's a potential.
Yeah.
He has money. Let's break into the house and go and carry some of the money. Or let's meet him on the way when he's coming back from cabinet or parliament or wherever it is and collect our share of the money. They have set a bad precedence.
Very bad, very dangerous precedent.
So now, if you can keep 1 million, why should I go and keep my 700 cedis, 300 cedis in the bank? I'll also keep it at home. What you have done is that you have increased robbery if care is not taken.
That's right.
Because now people will just barge into people's homes and say, where's the money?
We know that there's money here.
That's what you have done. That is exactly what you have done. You cannot tell the people to keep their monies in the bank and then you tell the people that there's no, and they are I won't put it aside. They are the reason you go to the banks as young people, you have plans, and then you can't get the banks to give you facilities because the banks really are not liquid. It's on the report.
That's right.
The banks are leaking. The banks are leaking. They are.
Still trying to find their footing after all the haircuts and all of that.
Banking sector collapse, which was supposed to make things better, made it worse. And here we are. Here's another one. Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report. The people who were mentioned in the report are bigwigs.
That's right.
I remember that we have invested so much into this Galamsey fight. Operation Vanguard, Operation Galamstop, Operation Halt.
Part 1 and 2.
We even went to 3 at some point. We pulled the best of our military, best of our immigration officers, best of our, there were 3 rings, national security, best of our, and we took them in there. And then, bad.
We bought new uniforms,
Yeah.
we deployed speedboats, but yet, just go on River Ofin alone, over
Drones.
800 chamfangs just on the river.
You know,
just on the
you know
river.
what a soldier friend told me, a military friend told me? He said, we know, because we are in the bush, that the chamfangs are supposed to be 500 meters astride the water. So we are told to do 100 meters astride the water. The person I'm supposed to catch is 500 meters in front of me or 400 meters in front of me. But I, who have the arresting of power and authority, I'm supposed to just go 100 meters astride. So I can go my 100 meters and still see him 400 meters ahead, but I have exceeded my threshold, so I can't go beyond that. He said it to me, and you could see like the emotion on his face. He said, no. So you have MPs mentioned in there. You have party top executives. Some of them have won primaries, like Ekozi in the Central Region. He has won primaries to go into parliament.
That's right.
So it tells you that the party itself maybe has endorsed illegality, because it was Ekozi who was heading the Galamsey leak tape with Professor Frimpong Boateng party in Yasika. You remember that?
That's right.
Excavators were wound to me and the rest were mentioned. He's a candidate on the ticket of the MPP. He will go to parliament. So what are we teaching? Are we really serious about ending Galamsey?
For a president who said that he was prepared, and we have already had issues with that language, what does that even mean to say that I am prepared?
When I said it, I said that, look, being prepared to put your job on the line is not the same as putting your job on the line. I said it in February last year. I said it. I said this one, a big Galamsey talk.
Because even the mere connotation, I'm prepared to.
You people say, oh, no. Now Professor Frimpong report comes.
I'm prepared to. Does that mean, I'm willing to, but I haven't yet. I'm willing to.
Ankameye, eyo hiasem. Yamfa kasem. Ankameye, I can, I get plans. Having plans no be, I wish Danny could play the video. Having plans no be, what do you call it? The actual results that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Because I've often said, if we are not fighting the Galamsey, then let's spare taxpayers' monies. Because, the government is using our taxes for these speedboats.
Government is not using the money. Government is wasting the money.
Wasting the money.
Yes.
We have to stop this pretend fight against Galamsey.
If you're making investments and you're making losses, you are wasting the money.
That's right.
Because we set up an interministerial committee. Cecilia Abinadapa was part of it. Kojo Ponkroma was part of it. Ambrose Derry was part of it. Dominic Nitiwo was part of it. Frimpong Boateng was part of it. Kanda Power was part of it. And 3 others. I can't immediately remember who they are, but there were 10 ministers. At the time, Asenso Boachi and Abu Jinapo, who are now ministers for land and natural resources, and also ministers for Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and Minister for Works and Housing. They were deputy chiefs of staff. So if a report is supposed to come to the president, you will assume that they would have seen the report, maybe read it, so that they could give the president a brief, because the president has a lot on his hands. Fast forward, Frimpong Boateng says that the committee, the people abandoned him. So he was literally working solo.
That's right.
And he was actually fighting everybody. And he was enemy of the state number 1. That was why this excavator thing was put on his head. I wouldn't say he's squeaky clean, but you could clearly see a man being genuine at some point. And when he spoke, and the reports which he had given to the president or submitted for the benefit of the president, 2 years after, it was a police investigation that made that report leak. Or after that police investigation started and the report came into the public domain, let me put it that way.
Right.
2 years after, he mentions names, and all those people who were supposed to have abandoned their duty posts came attacking him. The interesting thing is that when the government got its second term in 2021, Cecilia Abinadapa, John Abu Jinapo, Samuel Abu Jinapo, not John, and Kojo Ponkroma, they formed a 3-member committee. They went to Central Region, went to Western Region. They said they were doing a fact-finding thing on how the water had been polluted. You remember that?
I recall.
And they go to Central Region, they will have a big entourage of civil servants and the regional minister following them. They will be checking the water intake points. So I asked myself, what kind of hypocrisy was that? You were given the job to stop the thing. You failed to do it. You abandoned your job, according to Professor Frimpong Boateng. Then you win power again and you're given an opportunity and say you're doing a fact-finding thing. What kind of Adanko Dada James Subai is that? What's that? What was that? And it is evident that we still are playing hanky-panky with it. I mean, how does the head of the Forestry Commission, Sir John, be fingered in Galamsey? The man was close to the power to protect our forest, was fingered in Galamsey. How? Charles Owusu. You remember Charles Owusu in opposition? Change is coming. Was fingered in Galamsey.
That's right. He was found in the report.
The names, it would just.
We had Kojo Opon Nkrumah.
It would just
mention
shock you.
Gabi Oche.
It would just.
Dako also mentioned.
It was just waking you. Akunta mining. The president said they did nothing wrong. So we are drinking polluted water. Children are being born with conditions that are no fault of theirs. Limbs that are missing, arms and eyes. And what kind of country are we living in?
We're spending more money to treat these waters. As a consequence, that money is being pushed onto the consumer. On one end, you are paying more just to get potable water, and yet your taxes are wasted on an illusion of a fight. Let's buy drones. Let's get speedboats. Let's get uniforms. Let's find a fancy name. But are we really fighting Galamsey?
And you know the interesting thing? If you go onto our Facebook page now, 3FM927, you see some of the drone shots that Professor Frimpong Boateng submitted. And the Attorney General said these are not...
And these are areas that are not supposed to be touched.
No. They are forest reserves.
Forest reserves.
Guess what? During the time that we said we were fighting Galamsey and that we had banned mining in forest reserves and all forms of mining, we were busy giving 47 mining companies licenses and renewing the licenses sometimes 4 times. And these are drone shots.
But the AG says, where is the evidence?
Yes, said there's no evidence. First, the president says, bring me evidence if you see any wrongdoing. Then next, he bring the evidence, says, this is not
tangible enough. Why is he not saying more? He needs to give us more evidence.
Bring us the names of those who were mentioned in that report. Bring us the names. But you see, before this one, Hajia Alima Mahama, former minister for local government. You remember? Hajia Alima Mahama.
That's right.
Who is now ambassador to the United States. She put all the MMDCs into a room.
That's right.
And she said that, I know those of you who are involved in Galamsey, and very soon we will name and shame you. Hajia Alima Mahama is a lawyer.
She's a lawyer.
She puts weights on words. She knows the value of words.
She knows the consequences of saying things that are untrue.
And she was a cabinet minister. So if your cabinet minister says some things like that, and then you come back to say that we should bring you evidence, when the evidence is sitting right in front of you, well, who are you and how should we address you? Give us the names.
All right, so there was a list before that. We had Honorable Albert Kwam, Joseph Albert Kwam, and he came and gave a rebuttal on key points. Alfred asked him that, is there community mining going on?
Former MP.
Former MP. So is there community mining going on there? He said, yes. Are any of your maybe family members involved in that? He says Professor Frimpong Boateng will see him in court. He doesn't take kindly to his name being mentioned.
Where is that court matter?
We wait and see. We've got Charles Owusu. Kwejo Owusu free also.
You know Charles Owusu. Charles Owusu is a nephew to Sir John.
I see.
So the two were also involved in the Achimota land. I give it to you, a portion of forever. Yes.
Lord Comey also there. You've got Charles.
Lord Comey is the director of operations at the presidency. Lord Comey.
That's right.
Is the director of operations at the presidency. Nothing happens at the presidency without his say so. Director of operations is a big man.
That's right.
He was caught pants down.
Also mentioned in this report, Charles Niteko Tego. Also
he's
mentioned.
He's a presidential staffer. Charles Niteko Tego is very popular on Facebook. He attacks and insults people. But we find time to pay him. He was caught up in the Galamsey. If you check out his name on Facebook, you see him. Charles Niteko Tego. And then there's who again? We've
got Frank Esiedu Bekwing.
A.K.A.
Potozwa.
Do you know where he works?
Where does he work?
He works at the presidency. Do you know who works for the presidency? The chief of staff's right-hand man. That's him there.
Frank Esiedu Bekwing.
Yeah.
Potozwa. Some of you might only know him by the name Potozwa.
So you see the names I'm mentioning, the names that we're mentioning to you, and the roles that they play at the seat of government.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's move away from this one.
So we back it for Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Let's move on.
And he's had a lot more to say about other issues that have popped up. But
look, I am emotional,
Johnny, why?
I'm emotional about this because I do a lot of travels around the countryside. When you look at the quality of the water, I've been a Boy Scout before.
That's right.
And I would say I'm still a Boy Scout. Because once a Boy Scout,
always a Boy Scout.
I'm an officer of the National Cadet Corps. I'm a cadet captain. So I do a lot of those travels aside my journalism and my other development communication work, because that's also my specialty, DevCom. You look at the quality of water that is being drunk now, and you measure up to when you were a boy. You go to camp at, say, places like Sichikrom, Pakro, you go to the Cape Coast and some other places, and you could just fetch the water from the river or stream and drink.
Straight away.
Straight. You could just scoop and drink. You can't try it this time around.
No.
Now farmers take either bottles or gallons or sachet water into the bush to go and drink. They can't drink the water there.
They dare not.
No. That's where we have gotten to. We have rivers. We have messed them up. Very soon, if we don't take care, we'll be importing water. Just the same way we have messed up everything up the hills, and then it rains 10-15 minutes up there, there's a flood in Accra. Very soon, it might not rain in Accra, but Accra will be flooded. In the past, all those lands were buffer areas. It rains there, the greens are there, it slows down the water, it takes the silt, the debris, so it's just the water. These days, when it rains, look at the color of the water.
That's right.
It's always brownish.
That's right.
It's because all the areas, a classic area like the Ebri area, the Kusu, all those areas, people are now creating concrete jungles there.
That's right.
There's no green plan. So water hits the ground. And Abiam lives around this place. If I'm telling lies, he will tell you. Water hits the ground, is washing the sand and bringing it down. All those are immense places and the rest, they used to be buffer zones.
That means they catch the water.
So the water rushes, it settles there. And then the grass and things come, and then it sips through slowly and comes down. We have turned all those places. So water just comes straight. Places that didn't used to flood in Accra are now flooding. And we don't seem to be thinking to ask why. That's the same way we are treating Galamsey.
And it's not as if there are no rules that govern these areas, what we call Ramsar sites, areas that have.
Forget Ramsar sites.
They've been. We signed an international treaty to protect our lands, and sign on to the Ramsar Convention, and people built anywhere.
See, there's nobody in this country who goes to fetch a headpan of sand to pour into the water when it starts raining. Nobody will do that. Nobody has time.
No.
But check the quality of the water that comes. It's bad though. We'll take a break here. When we return, we'll go to Tamale briefly for the cookathon and find out how many meals and how many hours so far. Give you a live update. And then we'll activate the phone lines for you to tell us your own review of the year. Stay with us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We will be right back after this quick break.
Are you stressed from a hard day's work? Looking to